My name is Mike Feeney, and I live in New Buffalo, Michigan. And I've been invited to share my thoughts about the experience that my wife and I had as she had the need for hospice care. She said something doesn't feel right. She's very attuned to her body, so I knew that if she said something doesn't feel right, something doesn't. We got an appointment with Dr. Bruce Jones of Spectrum, Lakeland here for an endoscopy. He said, your blood work is alarming and you need to get to Butterworth Hospital where they have this more involved endoscopic machine. So we got there and a couple more endoscopies. A very nice man, Dr. Zolotarevsky, took care of her, and he said, well, we found a tumor in your pancreas. And he said, you go home now and I'll call you. And he called the next day, and yes, indeed, pancreatic cancer. And I said, okay. He said, I'm very sorry. Me too. So the doctor's talking about chemotherapy, and about 15 minutes into it, she reaches over and grabs my hand, and she looks at the doctor and said, we're going home, and he's going to take care of me. I said, yep. The doctor looked at me, and I said, she's the boss. I think it was the very next day we had a nurse come and do the assessment of what we needed, where we stood, was our house going to work, all the rest of it. And immediately thereafter, we started getting the visits from our nurse, Becky, who was just a wonderful combination of common sense and kindness. And we had wonderful support from Vivine, who was a social worker, who is a social worker, who would talk to Pam, but she would really talk to me. And when the boys were there, she would talk to them, make sure everybody's on the right page. As the summer went on, we got everybody in for Rob's birthday in July, his 40th, and that was about the last time. And the picture that we have of the boys and Pam and I standing is probably the last time she was actually standing. It became obvious that we had to get her into a hospital bed, and there was room in this downstairs bedroom to do it. About 6 weeks before the end, she couldn't handle food anymore, so she stopped eating. So in a sad way, it got real simple. And I called a couple times in the evening. The caring circle folks would answer right away. It was just so obvious that things were not going well, and we were getting close. And Becky gave me a heads up on that. I called the boys. I said, Mom's not breathing well, and I said, this is just, I think we're getting close here. Ben drove through the night, Sunday night, and got there Monday at noon. And he looked at me, he said, go to bed. And he sat with her, and he was with her at the end. He said her breathing just got very shallow, and he was counting the seconds between breaths, and he said it got longer and longer. And he said, I get more and more alarmed. And he said, eventually she stopped. And Rob got there shortly thereafter, and for some reason I awakened and was on my way down the steps as Ben's coming up to get me. And he said, it's over. None of this toward the end, or all through summer, would have been possible had she been in the hospital with COVID, with the boys at distances they were. If the Caring Circle folks had not been our team, we would have missed the last best opportunity to have Pam. You know, this whole process of asking for help is sometimes awkward for people, but believe me, when you get in a situation where somebody is literally deathly ill, you need help. It is a mystery to me how anybody gets through something like this alone. It gave us the comfort, the wisdom to do it right, the relief that somebody smarter than you at this was looking over your shoulder, and if all else failed, a phone call away, and a visit anytime. And that is a great relief. You sleep a little better when you know you got your team. And that was a comfort to us, to all of us. And Pam, if she were here, would say, thank you, thank you, thank you.